Hey, it's KMK. Episode 7 of Season 2 was actually really good. We already start to see the beginnings of how Dany's entire invasion is falling apart. She's making bad decisions, taking losses, even though she has all the chips and everything she needs to win. As well, we got quite a lot of forward momentum and tons of other storylines, so I'm going to go through them bit by bit, talk about the scenes I liked and didn't like, and why so. So we start the episode during a raging storm at Dragonstone, which is an homage to how she was born in a storm on Dragonstone as they were trying to flee Stannis Baratheon, who'd been sent by Robert to kill them. Now, one thing that really stuck out to me when watching this scene was this conversation between Varys and Dany. Lots of people have been looking forward to this because they didn't know how she would react to Varys. Technically, they've had a lot of time together, like they've been on the same boat from an entire journey from Slaver's Bay to Dragonstone, which is ages. So I felt a little bit disappointed because I thought the showrunners had kind of like took in the conversation we got here but put it like off screen, so I was kind of glad to see we actually got in an episode. One thing that confused me was how she banished Jorah for his actions, but it's okay to completely forgive Varys for doing the same, even though Jorah is probably a more valuable asset as a counselor right to her. Now personally I think she should have forgave both of them, but I still think it's a bit of a hypocrisy that she forgave Varys for even worse betrayals than Jorah. Though I must hand it to him, his speech about growing up as a slave and in poverty and one of the peasants and then rising up and protecting them and helping the realm was definitely very persuasive and really got me on his side. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about her terrible plans. Now I've made videos and mentions all throughout everything I've posted in the last 2 weeks about how her invasion is going to fail, she's going to take heavy losses in the beginning, and it's going to drag out this entire conflict between Cersei and her all the way to the end of the season, as Cersei will probably survive into Season 8. And all of that downfall definitely started up this episode with her making really poor decisions not to attack King's Landing. Tyrion's reasonings for not to attack King's Landing are stupid. Like, they have the Dothraki army, they have the unsullied armor. No matter what they do, people will recognize this and understand this. If they take out the head of the snake, take King's Landing, pretty much everyone will immediately fall in line, maybe apart from Euron. But that will be pretty easy to deal with when all of the kingdoms are on your side. It could have been the easiest war of her life, flying with her dragons and ships, take the city, kill Cersei, and bada bing bada boom, you've won. Now she has Euron picking up her fleet, her army spreading across the entire map, and her strength getting questioned really quickly, making a lot of lords that probably would have sided with her immediately start to question whether it's a good decision or not. So Daenerys summons Jon Snow to meet her at Dragonstone to discuss an alliance, because he finds out 2 pieces of important information. 1, she has dragons which can burn whites, and 2, she has a giant mountain of dragonglass on Dragonstone they need to mine to fight off the White Walkers. Now one thing that's confused me quite a lot in the show is they talk about the Army of the Dead and the White Walkers both being affected by dragonglass, when we have no evidence of this whatsoever. We actually have evidence to the contrary. There's no reason a white would stop attacking you just because you shove a piece of glass into it. It's only the White Walkers themselves, the actual ones who raise the dead, who actually die when they're stabbed with dragonglass. So maybe the show will introduce later on that the Army of the Dead does die to these things, or it could be something that the characters assume, but backfires when they try using it and doesn't stop the whites whatsoever. And to be honest, the few White Walkers there are in the army aren't actually the big problem. It's the Army of the Dead, the whites, that really gonna do all the damage. So having dragonglass is only gonna stop like 4 or 5 individual White Walkers from doing any damage in a fight. So they probably already have enough obsidian and Valyrian blades with them already just to kill those few ones. So the North discuss if Jon Snow should actually go to her or not. Now a lot of them think it's gonna be a trap or it's not a very good idea because when the Starks go south, they die. But what we're gonna remember is Jon's not a Stark, he's a Snow. It was interesting to see that Lyanna Mormont didn't actually side with him for once, which was a hard blow to Jon because he knows this is a very unpopular opinion for him leaving. And Sansa again was back to just undermining him in front of all his lords. Like she wouldn't outburst in front of all the lords if he discussed with these things with her privately, which he probably should be doing. So I'll give Sansa a pass on this one. I am quite enjoying all the memes now of how Sansa was like really heavily against it, but then it's like, why I'm gone, you're in charge, and Sansa's like, oh, you can go fucking die, I'm in charge now. So it'll be really interesting to see how the interaction between Dany and Jon will turn out next episode, especially as he just seems to be rocking up by himself, hoping he can convince a person who's never been in Westeros that the White Walkers not only exist, but have a giant army of the dead and are now laying siege to Eastwash by the sea. It's possible Melisandre could make a vision in the flames that Dany can see, or if you believe some of the leaks, it could be done that way. And then we move to the most well thought out, beautifully crafted, absolutely necessary plot-driving scene. Missandei. So I'm really happy with the Cersei scene. She did exactly what was necessary to do. Jaime and her worked it so well. They gained a really important military ally, breaking away a huge piece of power from the Tyrells, and making the noble houses question any alliance to Dany. And it's damn lucky they did it anyway, because this is the only reason they're not attacking King's Landing. Like, Tyrion's only reason not to come in there and just destroy Cersei is because it would make them look bad. So if Cersei and Jaime didn't pull this tactic, they would already be fucking dead. So thank God she thought of this. I still find it a little bit annoying that they didn't really cover any of the Randall Tully Sam stuff. Like, he definitely should have been angry that Sam took that sword. Like, why has he not come down with like 3 guys and just fucking beat the living shit out of Sam, took the sword and walked away? Like, wouldn't be hard for him whatsoever. Definitely the highlight for the scene is the way that Jaime handled himself. We definitely knew that he knew what buttons to push to get Randall on the side, and it was almost like we saw a little bit of Tywin in him. And then of course we had the scene with Qyburn showing the really old crossbow that apparently was a new build. It was like in a dark cellar, covered in dust. It literally had a whole bunch of material draped over it because it was down there for so long, but newly built by every blacksmith in the city, of course. Immediately when I saw it go into the dragon scale, I thought, sprang to mind, I was like, what if Cersei was to kill a dragon, right, and that dragon be raised as a white? There's been tons of rumors and people talking about a dragon that could be raised by a white, all that kind of stuff, and the Night King riding a dragon. I thought it was pretty interesting, but like, this could be a way that Cersei has yet another plan that backfires spectacularly. I would just love to see her fail yet again. Now, I gotta say, I'm really glad to have Jorah back. He's actually such a great character, and the creativity of the director and the camera work of the sand scenes is absolutely great. They never cease to gross me out entirely. Now, I'm thinking about doing another video all about Sam and his future in the season, so I may not cover this one extensively. So Arya has definitely been a lot colder person for the last few seasons. We had a few happy nice scenes with Ed Sheeran, but it's really nice to see that she's finally turned around her revenge streak because of Hotwire's brilliant weather report. And I thought the scene with Nymeria was alright. It was kind of a cool way of them not really introducing Nymeria back into the story, but still like acknowledging her existence and putting her out there as something that could come back later on. But one thing that really bothered me was how fake the scene was. They used shaky cam where they didn't need to, and the direwolf and the camera working just was shit. Like, really shit. I didn't feel like there was a real wolf. I didn't feel like there was a real exchange. I felt like Maisie was interacting with a green stick. But other than that, I thought it was alright. And then we finally got the long predicted sea battle. What the fuck? He just jumped off the side. What? What? It's fucking great.
Hey.